couple things about that, Joe, and I'm glad that you mentioned Germany because that's where I was starting. In 2016, I was on a speaking tour with the German consulate, going around the country talking about the 2016 election. I was talking sort of a German equivalent of NPR and Frankfurt, and everybody was asking me, is he going to get elected? Is he going to get elected? The Germans were really, really worried. There was an older woman there, and I said, look, the numbers say probably not, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I said, he says these really crazy racist things. It seems unlikely. The Electoral College doesn't work in his favor. And the oldest woman in her room, who was in her 80s, said, we were saying the same thing about Hitler in the 30s in Germany. So you're right, Joe. I mean, I was across the ocean and had Germans saying, I can't believe you Americans don't see that this is coming. And I think the most worrisome part that I have to say in all of this is, you're right. Yeah, there were people who called it out. There were black people who called it out, Latinos who called it out, Asians who called it out. I think it took too long for many members of the press to accept that. And people who were saying it in 2015 were sometimes called, you know, you're being hyperbolic, you're using extreme language, it won't get that bad, other people will keep them in control, and that's why we're where we are today.
Well, I think, and that really is right now the question, Mika, and we'll go on to our news, but the question is, how long do the institutions hold up if Donald Trump is reelected? That's really the question here. Again, the federal judiciary has done a pretty exemplary job of holding Donald Trump's worst instincts in check. The press, the investigative core of the press, they've done an exemplary job in many ways as well. But where he breaks through these norms and where polite society is not allowed to say, he's talking the way fascists talk, that's where there is a concern. And I will say, again, I have long had faith in the institutions of this country to hold Donald Trump in check. I believe the institutions of this country have done a good job for the most part, other than the spineless Congress, the spineless United States Senate, of holding this man in check and his worst autocratic fascist instincts. Yeah. I think, though, what Masha Gessen has said, what Ann Applebaum has said, what Jay Rosen has underlined at NYU is the fact that we haven't been as good in the media of moving beyond our current political lexicon, the language, the boundaries of debate that we've used over the past 240 years, because we've never had a president that's spoken like this.
With a complicit Congress, with a complicit AG.
With a complicit Congress, yes.
This is the difference.
And with a complicit administration.
Yeah, and a complicit. This has been a perfect, horrific storm in a number of different ways. And I think the, conversations we will have long after this, hopefully, if this country survives it,
we'll
dead
survive
serious.
We'll survive it.
Will be fascinating. I want to get to Willie, but just to add to this, because we're about to get to the new cases and positivity rates of the coronavirus. Willie, I just think, to add to what Joe was saying, the one thing that may get through to fervent Trump supporters, and I mean Republicans in Washington, members of his administration, and the people you saw at those rallies, is science. There will be people who get the coronavirus at the rate these numbers are going, whether it's family members or whatever, and it's going to be a clear view of the president said one thing on stage. It's practically non-existent to losing a family member. It may come down to science that shakes people to see that perhaps he doesn't have the country's best intentions in mind.
Well, we certainly really don't want that to happen.
No.
And that's why it pains us when we see people crowded in together without masks.
It's horrific.
It is horrific and it's frightening.
It's grotesque.
And we pray for even, for the people that were there last night. We pray for their health, the health of them, the health of their families, the health of their children, the health of their parents and grandparents, the health of, we pray for all of those people who, I will say, we believe are being terribly misled.
Yes.
Well, the problem is with President Trump's encouragement, it's become a badge of honor now to attend these rallies, to not wear a mask. We heard in Ohio 2 nights ago when the lieutenant governor was holding up the mask, he was booed. That's because Donald Trump has created a culture where this has become sort of a middle finger to who? To doctors, to science, to whoever it is that Donald Trump has told them is the bad guy in all of this. And one of the reasons this is increasingly concerning is because the new cases and positivity rates of coronavirus are continuing to rise at concerning rates. The